stream. I hope you can all hear me. Please tell me so. Net connection. Hi, Danish Christian. A few minutes here, guys. Um, please tell me. Can you hear me? Uh, Hi, guys. Anyone still here? Anyone still watching? Right. So, as always, I am kind of counting on a very, very limited amount of internet here down in Spain. So, we're just going to be kicking off this Saturday night spontaneous live. If you guys can hear me, see me, then please let me know. Just tell me that you can hear or see me, and we just fire off some questions while I have a few minutes to go, right? And to answer one of the questions that you put before, I will be taking questions from this chat. So, you guys just fire off the questions as soon as I see them. I'll be answering the one that I see basically. Hi Robin, Robbie, good to see you here as well. I hope my internet holds up. So let's kick off and see what we can do with this. KA, hi Mentor, what are your suggestions for funding pilot training? I've been successful to an MPL but need to borrow 109k. Ooh. I'm worried about this debt. What do you think? Yeah, if you can fund it via loans or financing through your family or something, that's great. Otherwise, there's no magic to this. You are either going to have to work to save up the money and then do it the modular way, or you're going to have to find some bank or institutions that's willing to lend your family money and do it that way. So basically those are the ways that are available if you cannot get into a government sponsored program, which are available in some countries. So unfortunately there's not much more I can say about funding. Everyone else is going to have to do that way. Let's see. I'm just gonna let my little dog out. Ah, money. There we go. Cool. All right, more questions. Mentor, can you use a calculator in the theory exam? Yes, you can. You can use a calculator, but you cannot have a calculator where you can program in formulas or sentences or stuff like that, because you're supposed to be able to use it just for calculation, but not to hide things inside of it, obviously. So Kenny S, if you're in a flight school, can you pick what plane you want to fly? Well, when you go to a flight school, they are going to have a certain type of planes. They're going to be Cessnas or Pipers or Tecnams or Diamonds or whatever they might be using, and those are the planes that you're going to use. And you are going to be assigned a specific individual for each session that you do. So the answer to that is no, you will not be able to pick the plane you're going to fly, but you can pick a school that has a specific type of plane that you might like. George Comer, do you like Boeing or Airbus, and if so, why? Yeah, obviously, I've only flown Boeing, so I like Boeing. I like the philosophy behind Boeing, but I would love to try the philosophy that Airbus is having as well. I would like to try the side stick, and basically, I'm a curious guy. I like aviation, and because I like aviation, I would like to try different things. So Yes, at the moment, my favorite aircraft is the one I fly, the 737. Probably the 737 Max is going to be fantastic once we get that. But for now, there's not like I wouldn't fly a specific type. No, I would think it would be lovely to try any kind of type. Um, so more questions here. Ramit Vatsirani. Is the heavy investment worth it? Yeah, well, that's the golden question, isn't it? It is a lot of money, and you are going to have to work hard to get through the training and then to get your first job. And if you get a job, then it's going to be worth it. If you don't get a job, it's going to be hard to motivate it. However, the basically people who have gotten the aviation bug will not have much to choose from. To be real, to be realistic, you either try for it or you'd regret it. So I would say that yes, if you can fund it and it's not going to break your back, it's probably worth it. More. Okay, so yeah, I know my dog. She's just been let out here. And Dimitri K, where's the best place to become pilot? Well, that's hard to say. It's going to be different from different individuals. If you live in India, then if you can find a good school in India, that's probably a good idea. If you live in Europe, then you'll probably look around within inside of the European Union and look for the best value versus well, basically cost versus value. At the moment, I'm not going to go in and recommend any flight schools because I want to go and have a thorough look at the flight school before I say anything. But I have had a lot of good feedback from people who've gone to Poland lately, as in the training has been good and it hasn't been very expensive. So look into that. Otherwise, the big schools in the UK provide fantastic training, but they're also expensive. And the same in Sweden. You have some very good schools there that are less expensive than the UK ones, probably just as good. So, you have to look through it. You have to check with people who've gone to the schools, talk to previous students, and things like that. Michael Mossa, god kväll. Igniter, do you know anything about Swedish yrkeshögskola? If you refer to the ones that are gone, that they are using the TFHS and SAA, I think they're fantastic. They are government sponsored. If you can manage to get into one of those, it's absolutely great. And I know that those training organizations are good because I've did my training through SAA myself. Right. Does India have government funding? I don't know. Anyone else in here might be able to tell you. To my knowledge, I don't think that there is any government sponsored pilot training in India, but I might be wrong. Check it out. Hi, Mentor. What university subject would you suggest to take or not go to university at all? I always encourage people to go to university if you can, because it gives you a good foundation. A lot of airlines out there, especially if you're going to North America, will require you to have a university degree. If you are going for university, I would say probably just do something that interests you and that you think you could work with later on in case the aviation dream will fall through. If that includes some kind of science subjects, that's great because there's a lot of natural science involved in the ATPL training. But when it comes to university students, it's gonna cost you a bit of money to do. So do something that you like and that you think that you'll have use for later down the line. So Daniel, Leah, CTC hold pools. What do you think of hold pools for getting into airlines? I mean, they are just what they are. They are a pool waiting. You've gone through testing and they're just waiting to pick you up. So if you can get into a hold pool, that's good. It means that you are basically, done everything that's needed to get the employment. Now you're just waiting to get into the airline. So great. It can be a pain in the ass to sit and wait in the holding pool, but nothing stops you from applying to different airlines and different jobs while you're in there. And if something else better comes up while you're in the hold pool, well, then you go for that. That's the way it works. More things than Fraser. What got my assessment day with nuts UK ATC? Any help or advice? Well, that's ATC, and I have not done any test for ATC. However, it's going to be similar as for the airline test. You need to be well rested before. You need to have eaten. You need to be on top, basically, both physically and mentally when you go there, because it's going to be some quite grueling tests. But do your best. That's all that you can ask for, or they can ask for, and then we'll see how far it takes you. But I know that those exams are quite tough, but they're also doable. So I wish you the absolute best of luck as always. Christian Salazar, hi Mentor, good day. How do you get type rating hours? I can never afford to rent an A320 to build hours. No, that's true. And this is why I always tell people that you shouldn't buy, or you should be very careful with buying a type rating without it being connected to a job opportunity, or at least 500 hours of working time, because you cannot build hours without having a job on one of these types. And most airlines, if they're going to take you in as direct entry, is going to require you to have at least 500 hours on type. So be very careful with only buying the type rating. Try to, if you buy it together with a job, as in you do a job assessment and then they tell you, well, you're going to have to buy your type rating, then that's fine, because then you will be working and you will get your experience. But if you don't have that, be very careful. Igniter, do you know if the free yrkeshögskola is hard to get into? Yes, the government-sponsored program in Sweden, which is the one you're referring to, has, I think, about 60 spots per year in the whole country. So they are going to be first checking what your grades are, and then they will be going in, and you will have to do tests and stuff to get in. But I got in, and it was only 30 spots every year when I got in, so it is possible to do. Max McCahan, what plane do you fly? I fly the 737-800, and I'm typed on 737-300 to 900. Hugo Russon, what is frozen and unfrozen? That's frozen and unfrozen ATPL. What that is, it's called frozen ATPL because what you do is you do your training for your CPL, your commercial pilot license, and while you're doing that, you are reading the ATPL theory, which is one step higher than CPL. So when you do your exams, your 14 exams, you do all of them at the ATPL level. And if you are successful, it means that you have a frozen ATPL from that point. That means that when you reach 1500 hours of total time, you can just do a skill test and you can unfreeze your ATPL. If you haven't done it, if you've only done the CPL theory, well then when you reach 1500 hours, you're going to need to do a skill test and 14 ATPL exams in order to get the license. That is what frozen and unfrozen ATPL means. So, Jayan, I got a wall. Hi, sir. My question is, can I start my training when I finish 25 years of age? Of course you can. When I did my interview with SAA, they said that they took in students without any question up to 35 years of age, and then they started to have some questions to them. But I know people in my airline that started when they were 50 years of age, which is twice the age that you're talking about, and they still got in. So everything is possible, guys. Everything is always possible. Remember that. It's just a matter of how much work you're going to need to put in. Right. More questions. So, what university subject should I take? I've already answered that question, so look it up earlier on in the live stream. Captain, can you pick a plane? What plane you want to fly in the future? For example, 777 or A380 or 737? No, you cannot. Basically, in this world, guys, we do not choose the type of airplanes, or we hardly even choose where we are going to be based in the beginning. You can choose, well, you can try to apply for an airline that has a specific type that you would like to go on to, and then you can bid to get into that type. And if you fly for an airline like Emirates, for example, they have both 777s and A340s and A330s and 380s. In that case, you can also bid to try to get you where you want, but it's ultimately going to be up to the airline where they need you to be, what they need you to do. So, so you can try to choose, but in the end, it's always going to be the airline who chooses. Scott Young, any hints of what's coming in the app? Well, there are some stuff. Basically, I've been listening to what everyone has wanted to have during the last year, and I have started to create content based on that. The briefing videos that I'm now letting out one by one can give you a little bit of a hint about what's coming. But basically, once the app is out, then I will be listening to whatever you guys want me to create. And if there's enough people who want me to do something specific, like different failure types or different handlings, maybe crosswind takeoff, crosswind landing, stuff like that, well, then I will just go and I will create the course for you and I will put it up on the app. That's the fantastic new part of the app that I can do and fill in whatever you guys want me to put in there. And I am intending to do that. There will be 2 courses, almost an hour and a half of instruction in the first release, and then I'm intending to put a new course out maybe every month or every other month, depending on how the demand is, depending on what you guys want. And also, guys, the app will be very small to take down. It'll be free to download, but the courses obviously are going to be quite heavy, as in there will be about 250 megabytes each video. But the good thing is that once you've taken them down, if you want them to take them off your mobile phone or your device, you can just delete them. But since you have a user and you've paid for it, whenever you want them, you just download them again. So they'll be in kind of a cloud just waiting for you. So I've really tried to think about everything this time to get it right, okay? But I will be needing your feedback. Lol Metro, did you actually program the Mentour Aviation app yourself? No. I can do a lot of things, but programming is not one of them. I am using a company called Travancore Analytics. It's an Indian company. It's been absolutely fabulous to work together with. They have been doing fulfilling all my wishes. Obviously, I've paid for that, but yeah, it's Travancore Analytics that have been making the app. Nuno, Marcelino, any funny stories from last while flying? No, actually, the people have been behaving. I've had one unruly passenger that we had to call the police to take off the aircraft because he was being obnoxious and threatening violence to his fellow passengers and his girlfriend. That was not funny, but it was one of those things that we have to live with, unfortunately, as flight crew and cabin crew. Otherwise, people have been, doing quite well. And actually, I haven't flown for quite a while now. I've been in the simulator basically the whole winter, so I'm looking forward to get back into the cockpit. Sean Henry Newman. Petter, I want to become a long haul pilot. I'm going to Kappa in Roskilde, Denmark. How long will I have to work until I can go long haul for a bigger company than Ryanair and Norwegian? Well, just go in and check what first of all, I don't really know what you mean by a bigger company because Norwegian, well, Ryanair is the third biggest airline in the world now, if not the second. Norwegian is quickly becoming bigger, but if you are referring to the old school airlines, the legacy airlines, well, then you can just go in and look and see what they're asking. Most cases, when you go into a legacy airline, you have to start from the bottom, maybe at the smaller type, and then work your way up. So you're looking at about 10, 15 years, maybe. If you go into a company like Emirates, for example, I think you need about 3,000 hours or 2,500 hours on heavy jets in order to apply for that. And then you're in flying long haul, obviously. So it's going to be different depending on which way you want to take. Tian Franken, how often do you do Autoland? Well, we do it whenever we need to, which is when it's really, really heavy fog and less than about 550 meters of RVR. Or even basically, we tend to do Autolands even when it drops down close to 550. So maybe that happened once a month, during the winter a bit more, during the summer a bit less. Marco Valgimigli. How do you deal with com? Do you always understand everything? Yes, now, after many, many years in the business, I almost understand everything. In the beginning, it's very hard. You have to just practice it. Now, you have to know what you expect to get, and then you'll have to interpret what you hear, and you have to get used to all the different dialects and stuff. Fortunately for me, I only fly within Europe, which makes it very easy because the dialects are quite clear. But it is a learning curve. You first know approximately what you can expect to get, and then you listen and you learn. That is part of why we do so much line training. Dr. Aro, are there any restrictions in terms of nationality for pilots in Europe? Yeah, well, no, not really, not nationality, but you have to have unrestricted right to work and live within the European Union, which makes it a little bit restrictive. It means that non-Europeans will have to apply for a visa through their embassy and make sure that they get that before they can apply to airlines within Europe, because you'll always need to have a working permit. Just like I wouldn't be able to go and work for an American airline, for example, because I don't have a work visa for America. I would need to get a green card, or I need to get sponsored by a company there in order to fly for them. Lewis Logan, what main school subjects are most important to become a pilot? You need to have mathematics and you need to have physics, right? That is something that most schools will require you to have. Apart from that, it's going to be up to you. Choose the subjects that you're good at so you can get good grades, because the grades might also be important in order to get into the flight school or the airline that you want. Claudio Nito, do you ever miss flying small planes? No, not really. I've been flying so much that I haven't really started missing it. But I am looking into maybe taking it up again now that my boys are starting to get a bit bigger and they want to see what Papa's doing. Mike Thompson, Mentor pilot. Hi, Captain. Do you ever look? Your eyes look better now. And news from Maria? Did she pass all the ATPL exams? Does she have does she have a boyfriend? First of all, Mike, I like that you've changed up a little bit when it comes to your comments. Maria will be coming with new videos very soon. She is going to America to do some time building, and she's been promising to show some quite good videos from there. So if you stay tuned, there will be more. I don't know about her private life. I haven't asked actually. Emily, Gemily, best pilot. Thank you for everything you talk about. Well, thank you. Guys, I want to say this right now. I really, really enjoy all your support and the way that you interact on the channel, the way that you guys are positive, and I see that you help each other out. When I launched the Mentour Aviation app, which is going to be, I was hoping to do it this weekend, but it seems like it's going to be next weekend now or in the middle of the week. When I do that, there will be a chat function, and I really hope that you guys will be able to go in there and talk to other people that enjoy aviation and help each other out. I really want this positive and constructive thing that we have going here. It really makes me happy to see. Yeah, I know, 32,000 subscribers now. Well, it's 31,000 and 30 and a little bit, but it's going very quickly now, and it's crazy, and it's all because of you guys. Basically, if you see one of my videos and you think that more people would like it, I would love for you to just share it on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram or wherever you think it's good, because I still need help to continue to make this grow, because the bigger I get, the more sponsors I can possibly get, the better quality I can do it, and I can do cooler and cooler things, so this is why I'm constantly pushing to get help with growing the channel, because this is what I ultimately want to do. I want to make this as good content as possible for you guys. So more questions here. There's loads of them coming up. I'm gonna see if I can stop them to see where. Jakub Kuliksik. Hi, I'm 20. Should I take MPL training or ATPL training? By the way, I'm a student and I don't have much money. Well, MPL training is normally connected to you to an airline. So if you can find an airline that takes you on for MPL training and you can afford it, then you go for that. Otherwise, you can go for a standard. It's not an ATPL course, an integrated course that leads you to a CPL with frozen ATPL, which is good as well. But if you have very little money and none of these are available, then you're going to have to work up the money and do it the modular way, which will take longer, but you will end up with less of a mortgage. What age were you when you became an airline pilot? Well, I started my training when I was 17, just turning 18. I had my first PPL before I had my driver's license, which means that I had my CPL instrument rating when I was 18 and a half. And then I did 10 months of military training, which was mandatory in Sweden at the time. And after that, I did my MCC course and my multi-engine course. And before I had finished my last year of training, I actually had my first job. So I was 20 when I started. and I was 25 when I was a captain. Danny, Marco, why do budget airlines always request takeoffs from taxiway intersectional runways? Is it to shorten the taxi time? Yeah, well, basically, it's not just low cost airlines. Every airline does this, and it's because it shortens down both taxi time, it shortens down fuel burn. It's better for the environment, and we always do our performance calculation from the closest available taxiway, and that is also to help ATC and to minimize the pressure on the airports, so to say. So every airline should be doing that so that they are available to take an intersection and to shorten things down and do things more quickly and more efficiently. That's how we work or should work as airline pilots. Um, Ali Dudu, which way did you become a pilot? Well, I decided that I wanted to be a pilot when I was 14 years old, and then I sat down and I had that as a goal, and I started looking at different ways to get in. And for me, the best by far way was to get into the government-sponsored program in Sweden, which meant that I started working for that. I worked night and day to improve my grades so that I would be eligible to actually apply. And then I went and I worked my ass off at the test and the exams to get in, and I managed to get in to the government sponsored program. So that was just a happy, very, very sunny story on how things can go. I know that that doesn't work out that the same way for everyone, but the important thing is to have a clear goal, and then it'll be easy for you to, maneuver your way through life in order to find which way is best for you to achieve your goal. All right, guys, I'm going to finish this off now, and I will see if I can take a few more questions, and that is, I just want to finish off a little bit as well, giving you some update about the application when it's coming out. Sammy H Potato, hey Sammy, good to see you here again. Mentor Pilot, I have a performance app that I found in iPad for my sim. It says INTS in meters, but I don't know how to find out the length of runway after an intersection of a runway, not even on the charts. Normally actually there are some charts that will show you the takeoff run available from the intersection, but since I don't really know the app and how it looks, I can't really tell you how to find that. Otherwise, it will be on the. Let's see if you can find it. If I come up with how to find it, I'll tell you. Okay. Um, Jack Henley, how often do you get a type rating assessment? Well, if you mean the actual the exams, we do twice a year. Every 6 months, you do operator proficiency check, and every 6 months you do a license proficiency check. And the license proficiency check is valid for 12 months. So that's the one that you do to renew your type rating. Gravity the Cat, have you ever declared an emergency to ATC? Yes, I have declared medical emergency, not technical emergencies. Peter Enchev, hi Mentor, why did you choose the Boeing 737? Like I said before, I didn't choose it. I got into an airline that had the 737, so I'm flying the 737. It's very, very rarely up to the pilot to choose which aircraft he or she will fly. Dear Mentor, what is trimming? I saw a trimming wheel near to the thrust throttle. Does it work manual or auto? Well, in the 737, if you have the autopilot engaged, and even sometimes when it's not engaged, it will work automatically. The autopilot will deal with it. Otherwise, you have a little trim switch on your yoke, and it's to trim away forces, because the aircraft aerodynamically will be different at different speeds and different weights. As your speed increases, you're generally going to have to trim it forward a little bit, and so on, and that's to relieve the pressure that you have on your steering wheel, on your yoke. Okay, so because if you would have the same, if you wouldn't have trim and you would change the speeds, you would either constantly have to push or pull. With the trim, we're resetting the stabilizer in order to fit the aerodynamic reality of the aircraft at different speeds. Donnie Marco, what is the most goofy system on the 737? Well, that is by far the temperature and the air conditioning system. All right. And it's like an old Volkswagen Beetle from the 60s. You would think that if you buy an aircraft for, $60 million, that you would get a nice digital system where you just set the temperatures. But no, these are little hobs and knobs that you set, and every one is different. And you put it to 1 millimeter to the right, and it's way too hot, and 1 millimeter to the left, and it's way too cold. So that is the system that if I were to do something about the aircraft, I would change that. Okay, and the fact that the flight attendants doesn't have any control of it, so they have to ask me to change the temperature rather than them just setting it when they feel that it's too cold or too warm. Right, guys, I see that you're starting to drop off now. So am I. I'm gonna go and get and make some food for my family. Guys, as always, it's been absolutely fantastic to do one of these live streams. Thank you all for interacting, and once again, keep waiting for the Mentour Aviation app. I am going to need all of your help when it comes, but A, getting the app, B, giving it a review and a mark on the App Store when you get it. It's really important, and hopefully a good one. And then spread the word. You're going to be able to share it on Facebook and everywhere, and so do that, because the more uses I have, the more cool stuff I can do. Every time that I need to go up to England and travel there and rent a simulator, get a simulator, stuff like that, the more uses I have, the more cool things I'll be able to do. So it's going to be up to both you and me to make this work. But I'm really, really looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a fantastic app. Right, that's it, guys. I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend, and take care of your loved ones around you. Give an extra hug to your parents or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever you're staying with, especially your kids. For now, I'm going to go and fix some food. Have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.